Good morning, Rich. Thank you so much for the opportunity to take a look at your birth chart, to conduct the reading for you of your birth chart. And it is an honor and a privilege to be able to do so. And I just want to let you know that you'll see me looking down and looking back up at the video because this is your chart here. And I will be looking at it and talking to you about the interactions that I see between the planets and the houses and so forth. So I'm first going to start by looking at your childhood. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about how that played out, and then I'm going to talk to you about how that is affecting you in your life now, and then I'm going to talk about ways to heal those things that are a result of the damage from childhood. And moving forward, we'll talk about your place in the world and things that you would be best at spending your time in, and investing your time in based on the gifts and the talents that you have been blessed with in this life. Okay? And for those who are watching this, I want to just make it clear that Rich gave me permission to post his birth chart reading publicly. And this is something that I would not have done without his permission. So again, thank you for that, Rich. And here we go. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, of course, your Sun and Mars. Now, I have your date of birth listed as May 27th of 1951, and that gives you a Gemini Sun, and also your Mars is in Gemini as well. So with Mars in Gemini and your Sun, they are conjunct, meaning that they are together in the chart, right next to each other. And they are in your first house, and the first house is the house of self. So this out of the gate shows me that the Sun representing the Father, Mars representing how we take action, and Mars also represents anger. I can show that there was animosity between you and your father as you were growing up. And if this was not your father, then this is a male figure who played that role for you. Also, I see here that there was some confusion about your birth when you were born. There's Neptune here in a hard conversation, which is called an inconjunction between your Mars. And I see that there was confusion when you were born. It wasn't really a celebratory period for whatever reason that was going on in the family. And so all your life, as you were growing up, there was this anger and animosity between you and your father. And it affected yourself, the self that you know and who you are. Again, being in the first house, and the first house represents the self and just absolutely who you are. So with this Sun and Mars combination, there was always a feeling for you of that you did not belong. And your moon is in Pisces, okay? And the moon represents how we feel, what is comfortable to us. It also represents the mother in the birth chart. So with a moon in Pisces, your mother, you perceived your mother as a very sensitive soul, a very sensitive person, a very caring person, okay? And I can see that your mother was the love of your life. She meant so much to you. And I'm able to see that because I show the moon is in the 10th house, which is the highest part of your sky. So in your mind, especially as a child, she was set up the highest. You know, she was the sun and the moon for you. You loved her and you esteemed her so highly, which is so beautiful. And I see that your moon is in a hard aspect. It's having a conversation with Venus. So Venus represents your desires in this life and what you love. So there was a love for your mother, but Venus is in the same sign as Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of a lot of sudden change, a lot of ups and downs, and it's also in the sign of Cancer. Cancer represents the mother. So for you, the love for your mother left you with some confusion because it's here with Uranus. So your mother, with this combination or connection to the moon, was a person who gave you love and then would flip it, and she would be very changeable in her personality. There was not a lot of consistency. So, you know, one minute you were the golden child, the next minute she detached from you and cut off that love from you. And between you and your father, your mother was your savior. She would be the person who would step in and save you, oftentimes from the harshness of your father. The verbal abuse, Gemini, verbal abuse that you received from your father. She would step in to protect you, and she was your savior on many days. And she was bold about protecting you. But at the same time, when she would come in to save you and coddle you, then she would flip again and be cold and harsh towards you. So that left you with a sense of confusion. And as it relates to you and your siblings, to your brothers and sisters, in your 3rd house, which is the house of brothers and sisters, we have the planet Pluto that is sitting there. And Pluto is going to always represent power, control, authority. Oftentimes on the dark side of Pluto, there can be abuse, there can be harsh words, there can be the deepest darkness that we could experience. And so there is a challenging conversation between Pluto and Mercury in your 12th house. And so for Mercury is the planet of communication. And so you have this Mercury is sitting in Taurus. So what this says to me is that you and your siblings had very difficult communication. There were issues of power and control, and there were issues actually of you not caring for them at all. You know, there was a very negative feeling towards your siblings, and it was a hidden thing for you. And it was because of what was going on in the home. I can see that in the home there is Saturn sitting in the 4th house of home, and Saturn represents restriction and coldness. Saturn can represent very harshness here, and there is a connection between Chiron and Chiron in the sign of Capricorn in your 8th house of hidden things and secret things and really secret knowledge, sometimes occult knowledge. And for you, there was a wound that was brought to you, particularly by the father figure. Very deep-seated wound brought to you in your home. Okay? Now, because of the Pisces moon that you have, that you were born with, also the Venus in Cancer, those water signs opened you up to be very sensitive to all of the energies around you. You learned very early that you learned how to go along to get along, for one. But you also learned how to be sensitive to what is going on, to what people are feeling, and even body language. You can read body language. You can just sense what people are feeling and thinking. Very psychic. You were born with that, but you also learned, because of the environment that you were in, you learned how to read people's triggers, you know, to stay out of harm's way. You are one who from childhood has had dreams and visions. You're able to see things before they happen. Very mystic, very psychic. You were able to, from childhood and even now, able to have dreams and visions, and they actually manifest. You're actually able to see things that are coming, see things that are happening in others' lives. You're able to probably, you know, read the tarot, or even speak to spirits, see spirits. You probably see spirits. And you see beyond the veil. You probably hear spirits. I would not doubt it, because of this placement that you have. And you know, one of the most interesting things, you know, about life is that for children who go through this type of pain and confusion and so forth, although it is very painful and very harsh, it lends itself to making you a healer. It's like the planet Chiron, the wounded healer. Because of the wounds that you have experienced, it puts you in a prime place to heal from within. Find healing, not easy. Find healing for those wounds. And once you are healed, you are a power source for other people, to lead the way for them to be healed. As I wrote to you in your written report, you know, I wrote for you the numerology interpretation for your birth. And in particular, I want to talk about the number 9 here with your personality number. And in that, you know, as I wrote to you, you were meant to be a counselor. You were meant to be a healer. You came here to do that. With your Gemini sun and your Gemini Mars and Gemini, those have given you the benefit of being a very fast learner, one who loves to learn about new things, information, people. In addition to that, your expression number, which is found with your name, being a number 5, you're able to adapt in any situation. You're able to go anywhere, and you're able to fit in, and you're able to belong. Pisces moon offers you that as well. You, with the Pisces moon, it gives you an ability to tap in, you know, to the spirit realm. And again, like I said, understand what people are thinking and feeling. And this gives you the opportunity to go ahead and be a source of counsel, be a source of healing for other people. But it's something that cannot happen until those wounds are healed by you. Although, because you have that air energy, with the Gemini, your outward face to the world with Gemini rising, Gemini sun, Gemini Mars, people, if they don't really, really know you, they think that you are that detached Gemini. Although you do have that energy in you, which is good because it can help you work with people, help them heal, and then be able to detach so that you are not drawn in. That Pisces and Cancer energy that you have in your chart affords you the opportunity to really, really be a source of healing for people. It affords you to bring a gentleness to people, okay, which is very powerful. All right. In addition to that, throughout your life, like I'm going back, I've gotten off track. I jumped ahead to who you are because it's so exciting to me that you have these gifts, to bring to the world. That's very exciting to me. But I want to go back to when you were at the home, you were ready to go. With Saturn there in the 4th house, you were ready to get out of there as soon as you could. Okay. And you did. You got out of there as soon as you could. Now, as you grew older, right, into adulthood, and you started with your relationships, it was very easy for you to communicate with women in particular because of this conversation that the planet Venus and the moon are having, which are the two feminine signs. You're able to really tap into what women need and want, and you're able to be that listening ear that women love, and that is something that has been a gift for you. Also, when you enter into relationships, it is such that because of the placement for relationships in your chart, which is the 7th house, and Jupiter, who rules the 7th house, is sitting in the house of accolades, recognition, groups, social status. This, your relationships with the women that you have come in contact with and been blessed to meet have afforded you opportunities to go places and see things that you would not have seen without them. They have also blessed you financially, giving you major, major gifts, been real benefactresses to you in many, many ways. I see that because you have Venus sitting in the 2nd house. And they have loved the fact that you have been so tender, and that when you are with them, you are very domestic, in that you want to cook and you want to just be that person at home with them, and they love it. And very brilliant, a great conversationalist and that sort of thing. But the only thing that has been there to keep these relationships from lasting is Uranus, which is the planet of change, which is sitting in the same house as Venus. And with that, in addition to the 5 that is in your expression number, as well as the 3 in your life path, those are numbers, and this planet Uranus, they bring about a lot of sudden change. So even though things could be going well in the relationship, you find that there's a restlessness, and you're ready to go. And that is because Uranus is there, and it was there affecting that relationship with your mom, because we have a conversation with Uranus and the moon. So that change that you saw, the constant change that you saw when you were growing up as a little boy with your mom, that inconsistency in love and so forth, it stirred in you it brought up in you this desire to run when things, when they're going well, because there is an uncertainty, and there's something within that says it's going to change. You know, it's not going to stay good like this forever. So I need to run before it gets bad, before it gets scary. Okay. And if you know, I don't know, you know, so everybody is not born to be in a traditional relationship. Everybody's not born for that. But if you, in fact, did want to have one, and, you know, you were questioning, okay, how can I make it last? How can I deal with that? I do want a partner, you know, I do want a life partner. Well, a way to remedy the situation with Uranus in this is that you will want to have travel and a lot of change in the relationship. It can't be, okay, I go to work and I come home and we do the traditional type of thing that everybody else has done. That won't work for this particular placement. So a relationship that could work for you is one, maybe a long distance relationship where you travel or you see each other, and you meet, you know, out of the country, or if you are in the same state, you know, or if you live together, you travel all the time together, or your partner is a one who has a job that causes them to travel all of the time, so that there is not monotony in the relationship. And this is one of the ways that this, for you, you could have a relationship that does last long term, and somebody who meets your needs. And the type of person that would be the best for you would be, you know, a water sign, you know, a Cancer or Pisces type person who does have, you know, the travel going on. And maybe some Aquarius energy as well. You would get along with that type of person quite well. And that is something that could work for you. And this is the same in business for you. Business relationships, I'm sure, have been the same as well. Whenever you would start a partnership in a business, the same thing. Once it becomes, you know, monotonous and you're doing the same thing, then the Uranus in your chart gets bored and gets restless and it's ready to go. And Uranus will sabotage, you know, a relationship if it becomes monotonous, or, you know, we're doing the same thing all the time. Uranus will bring about something to end it. And if it does not happen from within you, it will happen from the outside. So if you did have a business partner, again, same situation, it would need to be one where there is a lot of change in the relationship, or how you communicate, a business that is about technology. Uranus rules technology, so a business that definitely rules technology, communication, astrology, you know, anything that is on the forefront, you know, anything that is edgy, anything that is new and technological, anything with computers and so forth. This is going to be an area that you'll be able to build a relationship, a business partnership with, and also a nice income for yourself. Even if you were investing in this, you know, if you weren't doing the actual work of it, but if you found stock and invested in this type of stock, this would be something that could be really profitable for you. As long as it is something that is cutting edge, you know, maybe well, like a teledoc, where the doctors are online and they're talking to you and this sort of thing, and trying to help you, you know, give you a prescription online. This is something that is very Uranian in nature. And if you invested in that, or you were involved in that, this could be very profitable for you. Okay. Talking about healing. what has happened in the past, because it's those moments when we are alone at home and we're still, and our mind is reflecting on, what happened in childhood and pain and things like that. They will oftentimes hinder us from moving forward. And with that pain of moving forward, there is this combination between Saturn and Chiron that is begging for healing. And it is that healing, like I mentioned earlier, between your father and your home life and your mother. Okay. And you have Virgo sitting here in this area. And Virgo is about healing and service. So for you were born for a life of service of other people, with what you have learned throughout your life. And in order to heal that, one of the practices that I have learned, which has been so powerful for my life, and I learned this from a Buddhist monk. She's actually a Buddhist nun, interestingly enough. And she's very powerful, and I will find her name and I will link it down below in this YouTube video. And this Buddhist monk, she advised, in order to heal the wounds from the past, from childhood and throughout life, she advised laying on your back in a quiet space and going into the pain, going into the